Yeah, let's go. Hey folks, today is Sunday, June 23rd, 4:47 p.m. My name is James, and let's take a look at the markets. Okay, so I think the market needs a pause at this point. Friday was like triple witching or quadruple witching or something, but we're banging against this level again. So we had run up from dropping down here. This was the October move, December, rebounded back up. We got through this level, and now we're hitting this one again where we were before. Then we got sent back down. We rebounded finally, or we rebounded fairly recently after dropping, and now we're hitting it again. I just think, again, it's kind of a decision point. Is this market going to be able to get through that level? This is like the third time we've been there, or is it going to get sent right back down again? And there's a couple of things that I'm seeing. So there's that level of resistance, which is from here. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. And we've hit it again now, and we're struggling. At least we're struggling from Friday. And then there's this line, which I've actually dropped in through this point. But that line indicates an inverted head and shoulders. So there's one shoulder here, the head, another shoulder here, and it's all at that line. So what I hope happens, based on where we are, is that we do go sideways for a period of time. I would even want to see us pull back here, but not go quite as far as like down to here or here. I'd like to see it pull back and form something like an ascending triangle that if I zoom in like that, it still kind of looks decent, where we've got a nice stretch of time and a nice deep drop, and then a lot of up, down, up, down, up, down with an ascending lower line. I'd like to see an ascending triangle form right there, or a bull flag, or just something that can tell us, okay, we have a nice base to challenge this level now again and try to get through it. If we start to do that, if we start to actually form some kind of pattern and pull back without dropping like all the way down here or here, I think we'll have a chance to see that this is really an inverted head and shoulders, and we will break through that upper line. So ultimately what that means is I'm going into a wait and see mode. I'm not taking any other trades right now because I really want to see what the market does with that. Now that's the S&P. The NASDAQ's a little different because you can't really see an inverted head and shoulders on there or anything because this was so low. But we are hitting that level again for the third time, and it didn't go through. So it's approaching that level, pausing, at least from Thursday, Friday. We got to wait and see what exactly is going to happen here. The Russell looks completely different. It hasn't even challenged the upper levels, but we're just kind of up and down in this level here in this area. And then the Dow looks a little different. The Dow's actually closed above those highs, but the bar on Friday indicates a bit of a slowdown. So the S&P is really what I want to go by. It's been the most accurate recently that I've seen for like the actual market direction. But yeah, I'm going to be waiting and seeing. No new trades. I need to see what this is going to do here because we're at that key level again that we've hit 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. So wait and see is what I'm going to be doing. And having said that, I'm seeing a lot of the individual stocks either having downside moves or breakouts that aren't quite working with not a lot of momentum, or just not a lot of momentum in general. Like for example, if you've seen Shopify over the last month or whatever, where especially the most recent move where it just blasted through that line and it wouldn't stop and it went up like 21 bucks that one day. That's the kind of breakout I want to see in some of these stocks, or at least something where it shows the momentum where that price just really wants to get higher. And if I don't see that, and I don't see it in a number of different stocks, that kind of tells me things are kind of getting slower. Things are slowing down. These breakouts aren't really flying through their breakout points, and there's not a lot of momentum behind them, not a lot of volume behind them, which leans more into my thought that we need to take a pause and this market's going to slow down and go sideways a bit, which I actually think it should do. So let's look at these. So trade desk, and there's quite a few of them. Trade desk, I had this line a little higher. This line, I had it a little higher. It punched through it, but it did close and come up a bit on Friday. So I just adjusted the line. I actually think that's really, really fantastic for trade desk because I think it needs more sideways action. And it actually will look way better if this line is accurate and it just consolidates through here and continues to build the lower line. So right now, I think trade desk actually looks really, really good. That pullback is good for it, and I want to see more sideways action. AVLR. Now this is what I'm talking about for breakouts that aren't really following through. Now this didn't break out, but it came up to the line, and then a red bar showed up to slow it down. I'm seeing that a lot. I think that stock still looks good. If it pulls back again, fine, because it's in a channel. Let it drop to the lower line if it has to. Come right back up again when the market decides it wants to try to go up again. That's totally fine. CYBR, I took any lower lines off because I just see a clear resistance point here. It actually hit it, and we got red bars. And again, that's what I'm talking about. Things that are stocks that are coming up to their upper lines and then just being rejected, basically. That's what seemed to happen in the last few days. Carvana did sort of the same thing. My line was down here before. It punched through, backed off, got sold down, bounced off the lower line, and now we just got a couple green ones. And so I raised the upper line basically because it shows it here. So there's a touch, or at least really close. I think that's actually the true resistance point, and then we've got a lower line that's kind of coming up underneath it. Keep an eye on Carvana. I think if it with more time, it would actually try to go. Planet Fitness undercut the lower line. Again, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Came up, challenged the upper line, couldn't do anything, sold all the way down, and actually cut through the lower line. I might just take the lower line off and just pay attention to the upper resistance point, and then let it do whatever it wants to do, and then see if I can find another line in there someplace. But I'll probably just keep an eye on that for now. PEGA, this thing, as far as FinViz, if you don't know what FinViz is, finviz.com. Gives you some fundamental data down at the bottom there. Now I use that to just take a quick glance at earnings and sales. This thing has terrible earnings and sales on that website, but the chart looks great. And so I've seen this quite a few times when I'm doing a review, and I'm like, what should I do with this thing? Because the chart looks fantastic, and the earnings and sales appear to be terrible. But I put it in here anyway, so you can see it. And I might actually, I'm just going to keep an eye on it and see if it breaks out or not. But symmetrical triangle looks pretty good to me, technically. So let's keep an eye on that guy, PEGA, even though the earnings are bad. Safe, this is a REIT, but look at that move all the way up into a symmetrical triangle. Looks pretty good. So right around 29, what is that, 29, 25? Right now, could change if it continues to consolidate, but that's getting pretty tight. It's gonna have to move at some point in the near future. Tandem, still holding the lower line. It dipped below once, but still holding the lower line. I added NTES because, you know, disregard all this stuff. But all this kind of upside movement and then a nice, really good aggressive move here into this kind of flag pattern. That looks pretty good to me. And then the small little consolidation under those lines, or under the top line. That's kind of why I've added it back in, or added it in here at all, because I see those big lines. I like when a stock gets close to it and then begins to consolidate. That means like there's not a lot more there's not a lot of selling going on there to drive it any lower than it is. So it could move. That'd be 268.63, or maybe a little lower, 268.34 maybe. I added ANET, and I'll show you why. I kind of see the same thing happening again. So this was a pop-up into selling and a symmetrical triangle that blasted higher. Earnings were in here, but still the whole trend of the stock went higher after it dipped and consolidated. And now I kind of see the same thing happening here where it dropped, and now we're consolidating again into a descending channel, falling wedge kind of pattern. It's not really wedges, it's more like a small descending channel. But yeah, and now it's starting to build up a little bit where the price is going higher. So That could go higher. As of right now, it's right around 258.64, but it's probably gonna need more time to actually go. Boston Beer Company, I added this in. You can see all this downside, but then there's this big move, a lot of uncertainty here, and now this is things up at all-time highs with really good earnings and sales. And we've got this kind of triangular, ascending triangle kind of pattern forming. Basically, a break of the high of all-time highs would be the buy point 353 or 353.02. Okay, now here's some of the other stocks where we've been watching anyway, and here's where some more of that weakness that I'm seeing is kind of concerning me. So this guy had a lower line, broke through it, I adjusted it, broke through that. It really looks weak. If you've been in this for a while, I hope you got out somewhere up here, or at least you should get out now. It would be a small gain. I don't think it's going to go much further. I think it's actually going to keep getting weaker. Match doesn't look very good right now. Shopify. Oh, there's the huge move that happened. So it was Wednesday, and then we pulled back. So I was in this. I'll tell you, I was in this from here. I wrote it up here through this consolidation, and I got all of that move, and I got it about in there. I didn't get the big pop, the $11 move on what was it, Wednesday. I never got that. It started to pull back on me a little bit, and I was expecting that it's probably not going to be able to do this again. It's way up there on the moves it's had, and so I just took mine out. It started to pull back on me. I'm like, okay, that's good enough. I took it out, and then it took off. It was up like $11, and I'm like, boy, I wish I would have stayed in, but I didn't. And now it's pulling back. So I don't know what to think about Shopify, man. I don't think it's going to have much more to go here. Again, usually 5 bases, once it hits the 4th or 5th base, it's going to start getting weak, or it might have some trouble actually following through. So this is 1, 2, 3 up there. It would have to pull back and form a whole nother base for it to be a 4th base. I don't know. I think it's going to need to pull back quite a bit before anything like that can happen. Although its earnings are in July, so maybe it'll still pull back and form something and keep going. I don't know. I don't see much more chance of it making a really big base that I could buy off of right now. So, but again, like if you were in from here or you grabbed it there, you're looking fantastic. I happened to get it here, and so I just took mine out. ZM, I got in and out of this last week, I think it was, on this pop over, and then I saw weakness come in and I just got out quick. But yeah, it's still within this ascending triangle pattern, so I actually hope it pulls back a bit more, get a deeper sell down, let me adjust that lower line again, more sideways action, and then maybe it can actually get going from there. ASML, so this guy I put in because this is a chip. Any positive news on China should boost the chips, and if we actually get a China trade deal, the chips should take off again. So I kind of put this guy in based on some of the positive news on China, but again, there's not a lot of momentum coming out of that pattern. It just kind of went up and then sideways, not too exciting. And that's kind of what's making me think the whole market might need to take a break. But you have some that aren't, like Netflix. For example, popped through, had a spinning top on Thursday, and then up $4 on Friday. So we'll have to see what it does on Monday, Tuesday. But that's a pretty good move so far on Netflix. And there's this guy. This is another one like INSEE, and I'll show you INSEE shortly. But yeah, nice falling wedge here. So that's going to be around, what is that, 178.05 as of right now. Across the line, I'll keep dropping, so that number will change, but looks pretty good. There was a clear resistance line there that has now become support, and then we've got a falling line above it, so you could get a move off that one. So here's another example of one that attempted to go, couldn't, not a lot of momentum, and actually had more volume selling it on Friday. This doesn't look very good now. So in a earlier, like a month ago, when the market seemed better, this guy could have really taken off. but I think the market conditions are changing a little bit into a pullback period or a sideways period, and I think that we actually need that. And I think that that's a good example that that's a hint that that's coming, or we're starting to enter that. RPD broke out, pulled back a bit, and just went sideways on Friday. That doesn't look too bad. Funko, this guy looked great on Thursday and Friday until it pulled back. But it's still a nice breakout. This is 2260, right around 2260. Yeah, my stop if I was in this would just be sitting right down here now, because that was a pretty nice move on Thursday. I would just be sitting there, let it do its thing. Looks really good. I'm surprised it actually went, because I took it out and put it back. And I was talking about the little consolidation above the line, kind of like what NTES has right now. And then it actually took off, so that looked pretty nice. Etsy, so this is another one. I almost feel like I'm stretching to make the pattern on this, which isn't good. I should be able to very easily find the pattern, and it should look really nice and tight and beautiful. And this guy, I don't know what's going to happen. So there's a clear resistance line there that it tried to get over, it couldn't. Seeing a tight flag form at a resistance point is sometimes super good. The indexes did that, or S&P 500 did that a while ago. Made a little bull flag right at the resistance, basically you're through it, and then it took off. Etsy might do the same thing, but that big red bar that took place on Friday isn't very encouraging, so I would just keep an eye on it. There is a flag, maybe it goes. With the conditions getting weaker in the market for more sideways, potentially more sideways action, you may not get the momentum that you want. Here's INSEE. That's fantastic. So there's only a few. I looked through the biotechs today. There's not a lot of individual biotechs trying to run. INSEE looked good. When I put it in, it moved fantastic out of that line, or out of that symmetrical triangle through that line, and it's just going, man. So the other one is the GWPH, and that's got a really nice triangle on it. That one could go too. INSEE looks great. That's a fantastic move. Here's another one where I'm kind of uneasy about what it's doing. Sure, it popped over the line, dropped the next day. Then generally just a little sideways action, maybe a little flag happening, or pennant of some kind above the breakout. But I like to see a stock that at least gets 2 to 3 days of upside, bang, 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 like INSEE, like I just showed. Then do your consolidation. Don't pop over the line and then sit there. So that's why I'm uneasy about it. I'd be really careful. I would tighten up your stop. If you had a $2 stop or $1.50, I'd go tighter, because if it just turns around on you, comes back with a line, and it stops you out because you were really close, big deal. You got out with a very small loss on a stock that couldn't get going. Look for something better. It may go, it may not, but if your stop is just really close underneath the breakout point, you're going to be very well protected there. Docs, there's another one. Not very encouraging. You see a nice little green pop over the breakout. Then you get a spinning top and another spinning top that's lower. That's garbage. It held the line. Maybe it pops up, but again, like I said, if the indexes are going to start getting weak to sideways, it's not very encouraging to see a lot of upside momentum in some of these stocks. There's a couple, like I showed, Netflix maybe, INSEE maybe, well, INSEE yes. Netflix might get another update, but it's not broad. You don't see a lot of really great stocks moving. MDB, I kind of just drew this line here. That's probably going to change. Like I said on this initially when it did this, it's probably going to take weeks for this to rebuild itself into something we could actually trade. And so I'm just keeping an eye on it. Don't take this as a buyable pennant. It's not. Roku, so here's another one that has me worried. There's a little ascending channel. There's a really, really tight. Before I said I really like this kind of grinding upwards action. And I do, as long as the market just keeps doing that. But this closed right at this lower line of this channel. And I just drew this channel, I think it was earlier today. If that line gets broke, just get out. it's not going to go any higher. I don't think the market as a whole has what it takes to drive any more of these stocks any higher than they already are. There's going to be sideways action coming here. Yandex, again, that same sort of thing where it's just kind of swirling around, but still climbing. It still looks pretty good. Again, there's no real big green bar showing up. It's doji, spinning top, just kind of clustered together while the price ascends a little bit. I'd just be really cautious on some of this stuff. You do have a gain if you're in there, but you might want to just take it out. CarMax looked really good before its earnings, and then the earnings drove it higher and it sold off a bit, but still that's a gain, $2.64. If you held it through the earnings, you look great. If you didn't hold it into the earnings, you still look great, because you got from here to here, or actually from here to about there. You still got out with a gain. Or if you held it over earnings, you got a little bit more of a gain. Or if you sold it after earnings, you had a nice gain. It's got to go sideways. That's pretty much the answer I would give here. Expect it to go sideways. Expect it to possibly come down a bit more. Yeah, you'd have to see at least another day or another 2 days of action and see what this does. But like, my stop would still be down there. It hasn't consolidated again. Maybe that's a little flag. So you could go like $1 below, $1.50 below this point, just to protect yourself. But when it swung around, it kind of dipped down there pretty good. So if you wanted to raise a stop, I would probably raise it to about there. That's where I put it. Zscaler is kind of the same thing, more of that, kind of grinding higher a bit. But last 2 days were red. We might see a down day tomorrow, might see downside action. Just be real cautious. I would almost think about take your profits out and wait. That's what I've done. I only trade one stock at a time right now, but I'm staying out while this market tries to figure out what it's going to do at that upper level in the S&P. So this guy looks really good. And this was like, what was it? Somebody initiated coverage on it and gave it a price target above where it is right now. And that's what popped it up. But yeah, if you're in this from there, stops right there. Looks really good. That was a heck of a nice pop. Maybe it continues to go higher. That's a bearish bar. Would indicate sideways to downside action. But if your stop's down here, you got plenty of room to wait and just let it come back and build its way higher. Lulu is pulling back a little. So this is another of those. See, in a different market, if this was much more bullish, a much more bullish feeling market, and not like it's now hitting at that high on the S&P that we've been at 3 times. This is the 3rd time now. I would say just hang on to this and stay down there, because I would expect now, if it did that, you're going to see an ascending triangle form with some kind of consolidation. But this could easily get weaker and weaker and weaker and just drop all the way back down to the line. So I would probably still say put my stop there. I mean, you still have to play the market as it normally would play out. See what comes in the futures on Monday, see how the Monday opens, see what happens, see what the stock does when it opens, or what it's doing pre-market. But yeah, I would still just sit down here and wait, because that's about all you can do. You can't really guess that, oh, because it did that, it's going to tank. I don't see enough information yet to tell you what it's going to do next. Here's now, this sucker's really moving pretty nicely. Broke out somewhere in here. You could have held your stop there. That pullback, that big red bar, never touched that, and then the price kept climbing. So if you're still sitting down here, you look really, really good. You could also come up here and say, well, it hit that and cut through there, and I'm going to put my stop $2 below that point, because it's $285. You got to give it quite a bit of room. So if you're at 278 for a stop, then your stop is somewhere in here. Right up in, yeah, we're way up there. That's not too bad. Yeah. You'd be nicely protected if the whole market decided to go sideways or fall and you're up 278, but you got in down below. You look pretty good. Chegg, here's another one that's just kind of trying to figure out. See, this is the thing I don't like. Stuff like when MDB would move, it's like boom, big move. When Shop moved, bang. When Roku moved, bang, big moves. And that was like a month and a half ago, or a month ago. Not getting that now. And then even Chegg did that. Nice big green bar, boom. Now what? What's all this? Sure, the price is climbing a little bit, but where's the follow through, right? It doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good to continue climbing. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't see a lot of follow through. Where's that momentum move? I would still be here though. I would still be sitting there because you got to play the market as you normally would. See what it does. If it comes down and stops you out, you're at break even. But let the market do what it's going to do. But I wouldn't take any new positions. That's what I would say no. I still wouldn't be buying anything new right now. Coupa, yeah, so this guy I'm following, this is not a new entry. I hope nobody entered off that. The entry was here. And if you are in from there, you look pretty good. This was an actual line that resisted it here, and it finally broke over, and you can see it touched and bounced off of it there. So that line is actually there as a resistance, which looks like it's now support. If you're still in from this lower level, you still look really good. I would hold my stop right there. That's where I would be. I would still be there. And if it could pull away from this level and continue to climb, then I would just move my stop to about $1.50 below that point, maybe $2. Let it do whatever it's going to do above it. If it bounces off it, great. You're down below. And then if it actually rallies and keeps going higher, fine. Move your stop back to that level right there, right at the line, and then just let the stock go. And then finally is OLED. And this was a nice little bull flag that it broke out of, and it's holding that level pretty nicely. It looks pretty good right now. A lot of stocks, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything that tells me I should absolutely try to buy something right now. I'm in wait and see mode. I want to see the market does at that upper level, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you again on, what's tonight, Sunday? It'll be Monday night. See you on the next one.